So you quit your job, you went all in.
Yeah.
You have way more time to focus on your agency now. Roughly how much money have you collected, like since perhaps starting back in May?
Accumulated probably around either near 10k or maybe over. I came to Dubai last year at the same time around September, seeing how people make money, seeing how people are living every day out here and stuff, and I just grasped towards it. And as soon as I came home, I just thought, no, that is what I want. That is what I want to do. Let's sign up for the course, let's see how it goes. And just keep working from there as soon as I consume my knowledge. Aura is, the best out there. You can 100% grow and become successful at Aura.
So boys, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's YouTube video. It is a little bit different. We have a very, very special guest. This is actually one of our clients who joined our coaching program to learn all about OFM. His name is Enzo. And if you want to introduce to the people, also give him the benefit of the doubt. This is one of your first times on one of these there's loads of cameras, lights, it's a professional setup. But tell the lovely people watching a little bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah, so my name is Enzo. I live in the UK. I'm currently out on Dubai on a holiday/business trip. And what I do for a living is I do a little special thing called OFM. And I run a business, which is Onlyfans management. And yeah, it's been great so far. And I've been a part of Aura since the end of May. And I couldn't recommend it to anybody else who's watching or anyone who sees this, of how great the course has been for me. And I speak for all of the other students in the program as well, of how good Aura's been for myself, for my business.
I remember I think we spoke when you first joined.
Yeah.
And I've been seeing your journey the entire time on the Discord, and we had a group coaching call, I think last Thursday.
Yes.
And then you were like, oh, I'm in Dubai.
Yeah.
I'm like, right, let's do this. Let's meet up. So
Yeah.
this is good to see already. Okay, cool. Now I want to give everybody the full context on what you were doing before you even found out about this business model.
Okay.
So what's your kind of background before you even heard about OFM in the first place?
Okay, so my background is, when I left school, I started to learn a trade. I started to learn to be an electrician, and that was all the way through college. So at that time I was studying. I didn't really have any sort of thoughts about, obviously this business is quite new anyway, but any sort of running any sort of business at that time, I was just, knuckling down, studying, learning to get a career.
Can I ask, by the way, Enzo, why electrician? Is there a reason?
Well, my father's an electrician also, and I just got into that, kind of passing it down to your family type of thing, and it is a good career and stuff like that. So I agree. So I did get into that, and then I finished that. I finished 3 years at college of doing that.
How was that?
It was tough stuff. It was tough. You've got to know a lot. You've got to learn. You've got to put all the things that you learn from school, like mathematics, physics, all that into one, and then you've got to be good with your hands and your brain at the same time. It's a lot that goes into it, and I respect people that do it. It is, it's a really, really tough thing to do. And then after that, after I finished my studying, I went straight into getting into working as an apprentice. For the people that don't know what apprentice is, it's like an intern. It's like an internship that you do at a firm, at a workplace.
And this is after your third year of college.
This was after I finished my college and I passed my exams, and then I was in that for about a couple of months. I'd say I was in that for a couple of months, just studying and learning, and then the turning point for me, utterly, my big brother, it was one of my big brothers probably watching, was I came to Dubai last year at the same time around September, and I came to Dubai, and I was just immersed around the sort of the living and the feeling and the seeing how people make money, seeing how people are living every day out here and stuff, and I just grasped towards it. And as soon as I came home, I just thought, no, that is what I want. That is what I want to do. I'm aspiring to be them. And I networked out here, as everybody does, and I spoke to different people and stuff. And then as soon as I got back home, that's when I really started to knuckle down and look at other things. And OFM wasn't my first rodeo of looking into what to do for the future.
For most people, it's just the same, right? Because you said it yourself, OFM has not really been about for that long anyway, and most people actually have no idea what it even is.
No. When I speak to people out here, and you network with other people, and they say, "Oh, what do you do?" And they might say this, and I've heard of that before. You don't know if it's real estate or whatever. And then if I say OFM, I don't even say that anymore. If I say OFM, they'll have no clue what it is. Even if I said Onlyfans management, they'd also look at me like, what is that? So I just end up saying like I'm a social media marketing manager or something like that. And they say, oh, okay, do you know what I mean? So that's how you know how new it actually is into this business. And And then, going back to my point before, I went home and I looked into other businesses. I looked into doing trading at first, and then I really knuckled down. My first plan was doing a clothing brand. And now, when I was doing my clothing brand, a video popped up about OFM around the start of the year. And I just kind of brushed it to one side at the time. I saved it on my phone. I just brushed it to a side at one time because I was just focusing on that clothing brand for just a little bit. And I didn't actually end up, releasing anything or doing a product or any sales or anything like that. And then around the March time of this year, another video popped up of OFM, and it was one of your videos. And I saved that again. And then just the thought and just going a bit of a deep dive into it, I just thought, right, okay, no, I think that this here could possibly be for me. So then I kind of just scrapped the clothing brand completely. And I said, no, let's knuckle down into this. Let's knuckle down into OFM.
Love that. All right, let's talk about that and everything involved in that within OFM and how and why that made so much sense to you, that business model. Yeah. Just before that, if we take a step back where you said you came here for a holiday a year ago, for the first time.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. And I always say that everything happens for a reason. And like, you don't realize it sometimes, but this one little thing that you might think is insignificant can change the entire journey for the rest of your life. For example, yourself, you came here a year ago.
Yes.
And at the time, I think you mentioned there, you didn't quite have like this business mindset or like, sure, every lad wants to make money, obviously, but I don't think you quite looked at it seriously at that point, right? Until you came here and you saw, wait, these people are doing this every day.
Yeah.
They're living this holiday. It's crazy. I want this. Yeah. So that's super, super interesting. And I think I even say this to a lot of people watching home. Sure, maybe not everybody's able to even travel to Dubai or etc. But you can still go to the closest, biggest city you have, even if it's a train or a bus journey. Just go to these big cities and just be exposed to all this wealth. Even I used to do this. I used to live in Colchester. It's a little like town in Essex. And there's one particular street. I forgot the name of it, but it's like the most expensive estate in Colchester. And I'd go for runs there every single day because the average house there was £3 million, the average house. Now, 3 million, like in London, is absolutely nothing. It's like a shed. But in Colchester, that's like a really big, it's like a 4 to 7 bedroom mansion, like for 3 mil. So I remember doing that. So first lesson, and the reason why I like doing this, by the way, bro, I want to give people as many lessons and takeaways from these podcasts, because every single person I speak to is so interesting and you all have a different story.
Yeah.
And I like to dissect where your mindset shifted and what made you then take that next action, right?
Yeah.
So I think first things first is change your surroundings.
Yes,
be around
definitely.
money.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing that I can say to anybody out there. No matter if you're trying to do a business, no matter if you just, whatever you're trying to do in your life, just, even if you've got a little bit of savings, take that paycheck that you get that month and just fly somewhere, go somewhere where the network is so powerful and you're surrounded by so many like-minded people that want to achieve something. If you surround yourself with that, no matter what status that you're actually at, whatever they have will eventually come back to you just by rule of law or law of attraction. It will come to you eventually. It might not happen straight away. It could happen in further down the line. But if you surround yourself with those people and in that surrounding, you will eventually get to a point where your mindset is on what they're doing. And the everything else that comes with it will also come to you eventually. 100%.
So true. It's so true. Again, like that saying that everybody says, like, you're the sum average of 5 people you hang around with. Yeah. But like most people still hang around with their friends from school who are doing fuck all. Like, I'm not saying you should get rid of all your friends. No, like everybody should keep as many friends as possible. That's fine. But at the end of the day, if all of your friends are only doing whatever, partying, doing this and that, but they're not talking about business, and you have bigger aspirations, well, you're never going to actually get there if you're still only having these conversations. But okay, we'll move on. So the next thing that I found really interesting was you thought about doing e-commerce, like a clothing brand, which is like, I think every lad is like, all right, I'm gonna build the next fucking Supreme or whatever. And then they realize it's actually quite difficult because everyone else wants to do it. So, and that, again, that's another conversation about saturation in markets. But anyway, so you're looking into e-commerce for a little bit. I think you said you didn't quite sell any tops just yet, right?
No, I didn't sell anything clothing wise just yet. No.
But you were looking into it, really planning about it, etc. And then you had OFM at the back of your mind because you watched like 1 or 2 videos here and there.
So with the clothing brand, I actually made I made a sample. If people don't know what a sample is, it's where you get like the clothing made to you and you can proof check it, and then you can go back to your manufacturer and you can get it shipped out and get the products online and stuff. And I did make a sample at the time, and the sample, but during the time that sample came, takes about 10 days or something. Just another video came up of yours, of OFM. I just looked at it again, and I just really deep. I said, right, okay, let me have a look, because I just want to, you know, consume myself of all knowledge, doesn't matter where. And then I really took a look into it. I looked at your videos. Your videos were the first, you know, I just went through them, and yeah, it just resonated with me. I just thought this is something that I could really be a part of if I really, you know, applied myself. And you know, I've seen how it works, and I've seen, you know, there's some sort of skills there that I could develop myself and think, yeah, this could really work for me. So yeah, I just took a deep dive straight into it and.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think a lot of people watching this as well will be in the same position where you were back then, where they're just consuming a bunch of content, right?
Yeah.
Now, for you, bro, what were the things, if you remember, if you try and think back for then, what were the things that really stood out to you within the business model of OFM that really started making sense? And you're like, oh my God, I need to do this.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the first things actually was just, in terms of like the freedom side of things, that was also a side of it, like, you know, having location freedom, actually working from your laptop. I think everybody kind of does want to have that, and that was one of the first things I thought, oh, I'd love to work from my laptop, I'd love to do this, I'd love to do that. Let's have a look at OFM, because that is a big part of it. And then the other things that kind of resonated with me is just having people, like I know people who do OnlyFans. I know people kind of in that network. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, I could, and I really thought about it. And this is probably what you did when you first started. And I thought, yeah, these people are making a lot of money. That is something that I could get myself into if I really put it down. And then obviously OFM was already a thing, so I was just putting two together. Sense. Go all in on it, and it's, you know, it's working out.
Yeah, I remember I said this in one of the first like videos that I was making about OFM. Yeah. This was I was in Marbella, so this is like 2-3 years ago, and I was in my Ferrari, and I was like, think about it. Whenever somebody says an OnlyFans model, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Probably like a hot girl in a G-Wagon with a Birkin and an iced out Rolex, right? Yeah. Or traveling to the Maldives. Yes, and are these things expensive or not? Obviously they're expensive. So what does that mean? They make a lot of money. Yeah, and it's so true. Yeah. Now, granted, obviously not every single model on OF makes a lot of money, but hence why there is now this industry such as OFM where we help them make more money and achieve those same things that the top creators are doing, right? Yeah, correct, because the top creators, they might have an unfair advantage where they maybe have been featured on a TV show and they are an actual celebrity or an influencer, whereas a lot of these girls who are just your average girl, maybe just finished uni and, you know, she wants to make some money, she actually really needs our help. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a second, about why is OFM even a thing, because a lot of people can't wrap their minds around the whole, why would a girl give away 50%?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, and then the first thing that you mentioned was the freedom, location freedom. So tell me a bit more about that.
Location freedom, I mean, I grew up in a little town in the UK. You know, it's not London, it's not Dubai and whatever, but just having that sort of freedom where, I mean, I do love to travel, and having that sort of, I could travel here or there or anywhere, and I could still work and make my money from that location. Mm-hmm. And that is a big thing, that is a big thing that I really, really wanted to do. And, you know, eventually move to different countries and be in different countries, you know, throughout the year and stuff. So that freedom side of things I think it's a big part for everybody as well. Yeah. But for me, that is one of the biggest parts, to have that sort of location freedom, to be in all sorts of locations throughout the year, definitely.
So important. I think a lot of people forget that the idea of quitting your 9 to 5 to then work 24/7, right, on your business. Yeah. But what you forget is, sure, I'm working on my business 24/7, but I have way more freedom because I can travel, just like you said.
Of course, yeah.
Whereas I think for a lot of people, I was speaking to actually a new guy that joined recently in the coaching program. He has a physical barbershop in the UK. Yeah. He has multiple locations. I think he has 3 different locations, and then he's also into like Airbnb. So he's into property, and both of those businesses are location bound. Yeah. Technically, he can get a manager to manage both of those businesses, but at the end of the day, 1, it's a lot of trust, and 2, it really bites into his profit margins in order for him to be able to leave the country and do whatever whilst these 2 businesses are running. Yeah. So it was the same thing that me and him had this conversation, and he said the same thing about OFM. It's just like, I want that location freedom to be able to fly to wherever, and as long as I have this thing with me, I can run that business, which is incredible. Yeah. Probably a similar thing with e-commerce as well, right? Just any online business that's one of the most appealing things, to have that freedom. Okay, interesting. So at this point, you are now you're binge watching all the videos on YouTube. Yeah, you're learning about OFM. It's making so much sense. The business model as a whole. when and what did it take for you to go, all right, I'm going to do it, compared to just watching videos about it?
Obviously, I went through all the videos and stuff, and I really consumed as much knowledge as I could. And I was just like, right, okay, yeah, let me have a go at this, because like I said about before with my network, and I knew a few people in there, and I thought if I have a good go at this and I built myself up, maybe I could get in with people who already make money from it and stuff like that. And then I looked at all the videos, and then that's when I signed up for the course, because I was like, right, okay, I need to learn off somebody who has done it and knows everything about it, so that I know everything about it. Do you know what I mean? So then and there was no anything in the back of my mind of, oh, should I, start this course or stuff? Because obviously people, how it is out there, people are like, oh, that course is a scam, or that course is this. I was like, no, because I've just watched all of your videos, and I was like, no, I need to go in on this. Let's sign up for the course, let's see how it goes, and just keep working from there. As soon as I consume my knowledge, go through the course, go through all the questions, go through everything, and learn on the calls and everything. And that's when I really, really, really went into it, is as soon as I signed up to the course.
Okay, interesting. The reason why I'm really interested in that, because I didn't know that. Like the average person, they jump on a call and they're like, yeah, okay, the coaching makes sense. I know I need a mentor. You guys clearly have been doing it for 2+ years. You have unlimited results. It's legit. It's within my price point, but I want to think about it.
Yeah.
Right. And they go away and think about it, and they never start. Like
Yeah.
they just fucking in their little thinking land. So for you, I'm interested. Did you ever go through any mentorship for anything else before, or was this your first one?
This was my first mentorship in OFM, but my mindset was in whatever I was doing, because obviously there's 100,000 people trying to do what you're doing, but my motto was start yesterday. So whatever you want to do, just start as soon as possible. So there was no waiting around. There was consuming the knowledge from the videos, which on YouTube, which obviously only give you so much. And then I needed to go deep dive into it, because I knew there were so many more ins and outs that you needed. And you did, a course is a big part of that, of getting those ins and outs, getting all them, like the nooks and crannies, they call it, of inside of the business to really propel yourself. Like you need that from the course. So there was no thinking about it. Like you said, people think, oh, I'll give it a think. Oh, that price might be a bit too much. I was just, no, right, get me in that course straight away. Because as soon as I'm in there, I've got a community, I've got everything to really just deep dive into all of this. Yeah.
And it's funny, bro, like the amount of people that I speak to, normally I do these like on a Zoom call, right? Like online.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that I speak to people and they had the same story, in the sense that I learned about OFM. It just made so much sense. I jumped on a call with you guys and I just got started. I just went all in.
Yeah.
And those are the same people I have these interviews with, because they've become very, very successful. And it's not, and the point I'm making here, by the way, isn't the fact that like, yeah, you have to sign up to my course. No, the point I'm trying to make here is there's a clear pattern between successful people, which is they think, but they don't think for long.
Yeah.
They critically analyze what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Is this legit or is it not? They do their own research, and then they make a decision there. That's the key. They make a decision.
Yeah.
Not in the fucking middle bit, which is like, I'm going to think about it. What is there to think about? You do research, that's fine. Yeah, which you've done, right?
Yeah.
Before you jumped on a call with us.
Yeah.
But you have to make that decision. You're going to do it or not. And if not, then stop thinking about it. Move on to something else.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting that you said that, because again, that's a clear pattern I'm seeing across a lot of people who have found success. Okay, so, and at that point, you then joined the coaching program, end of May, you say?
Yeah, about end of May.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And at this point as well, when you joined, you hadn't of started your agency as such, no?
No, I didn't. I've not started anything. The only thing that I was actually doing at the time was doing a bit of outreach, but I didn't start anything.
Yep.
I wasn't on any of the platforms or anything. I didn't have an agency page set up or anything like that. I had nothing set up. I just needed to get in the course, because I knew that was how I was going to start that.
Love that.
makes
So
sense,
you started completely from zero.
Yeah,
which
from zero.
is
Yeah.
sick. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then what was your experience like then? So you joined now. Were you a bit nervous, or are you just more excited?
No, I wasn't as nervous at signing up to the course. I was just really excited to just really get in there and speak to the people, speak to the community, jump on the calls, introduce myself as a new student and stuff, and speak to other people inside of the community about how they're doing, how do I do this, putting questions in the group chat, all that sort of stuff. So I was just really excited to just get straight into there. Yeah.
To go into it. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
definitely,
Okay.
yeah.
And then talk us through kind of your first weeks, your first months of both the coaching and then also your own agency, like your journey with it.
Yeah, so the coaching for the first week or first month was, again, just going through the course, learning so much knowledge, and then and like everybody will say who's in the group, the course is great, the course learns you everything, but when you jump on them calls on the Tuesday and the Thursday and you read the questions in the chat, that is the biggest thing that will propel this business, because you're learning from someone who's made that mistake, and you're learning from like yourself who's made so many mistakes, and now you're at the point that you are, and you don't have to make the mistakes because you can kind of learn off somebody else who has. And then also the call, so you can ask any question you want, is just answered straight away. So in terms of the course, the first week, first month was, unbelievable to just get straight in there and learn so much as possible. And then in terms of my agency for the first week and first month, it was more consuming more knowledge, making some mistakes, and trying to sign new clients at whatever point they're at, so I can make their mistakes. So like, it's a fast business, stuff happens so quick, but I gave myself a plan when I started, and I set a plan up for every single stage and every single like kind of month, or every 3-6 months of what I want to be at and what I want to be doing for that month. First week, first month was try to sign clients, try to make as many mistakes as possible, because that is the mindset to have. Because when you make the mistakes, you're going to learn off it. If you go in there saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I don't need to make these mistakes. No, because then you could get to a point where you've not made that mistake, so you can't learn it for yourself if you're, at a higher level. But that was my first initial thought. Sign as many clients as I can, who are at different stages, and just make mistakes early, so I know for the future.
That's again, if you're in your comfort zone, aka you're not making any mistakes, you're doing what you think you're good at, you're not going to learn, you're not going to develop. So 100%, that's the right thing to be actually excited and looking forward to making mistakes, not deliberately, obviously, but inevitably they're going to happen. And when it does happen, you self-analyze. That's another thing that I think a lot of people do wrong, is they have a mistake or a problem within their business, and they look, who can I blame it to? Oh, this client, or this virtual assistant that I hired, and But all of these things come back to you. You are the business owner. So even if somebody thousands of miles away in the Philippines has made a mistake, it is still your fault, because you were the one that hired them, and maybe you didn't qualify them correctly, maybe you didn't train them correctly, etc. Which is already what you're doing very, very well. You're taking accountability of all the problems that happen within the business.
Yes.
So cool. Okay. And the other thing as well, I always say this about mentorship and courses, etc. Nobody, like, if you really, really want to, and you're completely broke and you genuinely have no money, you can really figure this stuff out by yourself. Everybody can. Whether it's OFM, e-commerce, dropshipping, actually all the other business models are even easier because they've been around for so long. So there's more free information online. The point I'm making here is, if you really wanted to, you could figure all this out by yourself. It might just take you 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, probably 2 years. It will probably take you about a year or two to figure out by yourself, compared to it might take you 1 to 3 months to figure out with a mentorship and a community like you're in part of. Because like you said, right, you're learning from other people. There's 1.3 thousand people in that Discord. So not only you are making mistakes, everybody else, including me and Harry. So whenever we put things in there or jump on these calls, you get to soak up all of that information, and you can avoid future potential issues or problems, because you can hear somebody else saying, oh wait, he already had this issue. He's now learned how to fix it and avoid it. Now you know how to avoid it in the future. So I think the whole point of the coaching is that it saves you a ton of time. So you don't have to figure out by yourself. The second thing is that community, so the network, and then there's accountability as well. Because if you're doing it by yourself, I mean, it is literally behind a laptop. Like, there's nobody in person sitting next to you and be like, so you doing it? So, and you can slack off, everybody naturally can. Whereas when you're a part of a community, especially if you invested a lot of your hard-earned money into a mentorship program, you want to get the most of it, right? You want to make your money back, which then makes you work even harder. I don't know, maybe you haven't even thought about this, but subconsciously that is a lot of people, because they've paid. It's the same with like PT, like in the gym. It's like me and you, we don't need a PT. We can go to the gym. But if we pay a lot of money for this PT, we're definitely going to turn up to the gym. We're not going to be lazy, and we're going to work out twice as hard. Nothing else external has changed. We still have the same body mass, the same power, etc. So it's an interesting thing. It's the same with kind of mentorship with this. So so that's the first kind of week and first month. And how long did it take you to kind of get set up and get your first client?
It took me, I'd say, to get set up. It took obviously with my agency page and doing all that sort of stuff. It probably took me about 2 to 3 weeks to set everything up. That's not as in like, making everything like, because you can make an agency page in, a day or two. That's just getting everything together to, know, right, okay, let's let's get a client and let's do everything. So then it took me a week after that. So after about 4 weeks of more learning and everything, I signed my first client.
Love it.
And then I was on to, like I said before, the making mistakes and, marketing and doing all that sort of chatting and everything like that. So it took me about 4 weeks to be stable to ready to go with a client. Yeah, about
Love
4
that.
weeks. Yeah.
Bro, again, you don't come from like an SMMA background, right? Like you've never ran an agency or that.
No, I've never. No, this is honestly like my first, business model. Yeah.
With SMMA, to give you a bit of context, on average, for somebody who's brand new, has no idea what they're doing, it'll be about 3 to 4 months to get their first client. Because it's so competitive. It's not impossible, but it's just because it's so competitive and there are so many other agencies trying to get the same clients as you have to work twice or 3 or 4 times as hard to get just one client.
Yeah.
So for somebody like yourself who's just starting out, no results, no case studies, and you're still able to get your first client within the first month, well, that's pretty fucking good. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
And talk to everybody that's watching, like, what was it like getting that first client? In the sense, more so like, was it, like, were you just nervous on what if I fuck this up? I don't know what I'm doing, or were you just again dead excited to move forward?
Again, it was more the goals that I talked about before. I just thought, so the first client I get, I wasn't as nervous as such. I was kind of like, this most likely might not be my client forever. So I just thought, right, okay, let me try and do as much as I can, try and make those mistakes and whatever. So I wasn't as nervous as such. I just really wanted to get going and start the marketing and start the chatting and everything and keep learning. And that's what I did. That I was with that client for a while of just making their mistakes and talking on with the chatting and the marketing and everything. So I wasn't as nervous as such, just more excited to get going. Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Therefore. And then talk people through the kind of journey. So the same as what you said there, your first client is most likely never going to be the forever client because you are just learning. You're still making a lot of mistakes and it's completely fine. Everybody has to start somewhere. But yeah, tell people about kind of the first month working with this client. Where was she at already in terms of earnings? And what was she struggling with? And then what did you help her with?
She was at like a few $100s a month at the time. This was my first client, and obviously on a 50-50 percentage. And then from there, I was marketing everything I could. I was using everything with the course, investing in myself, investing in, different programs that I need to know, there's no waiting around. You can't sit on it and think, oh, I don't want to do that, because that risk that you haven't took could be somebody else's risk that they have took, and that's their reward. You're not going to get that reward because you haven't taken the risk. So the first, starting with the client was just more learning and stuff, and growing the business, growing the client, doing the chatting, learning as much as I could. And I did grow them, of course, because, if you put in the work in, you're going to get it back tenfold. So I was putting the work in, and that first client, I got them up to a decent standard. But again, I was doing more learning, then another client came, and just more and more work to be put in with that client and the next one and the next one. So it was a good journey with that client for the first bit. Yeah.
And did you invoice her like weekly or on a monthly basis? Was it once a month?
At the start, it was monthly at the start. Yes, it was monthly at the start. But as time's gone on,
sure,
I realized that obviously it's not the best way to do it. But again, I was just learning. But at the time, yes, it was invoicing them monthly. Yeah.
And the reason why I ask is because I'm just curious. Do you remember still when that first invoice, she actually paid it and that money hit and you're like, oh, this is real. This actually works.
Yeah, because obviously I set up a different bank account for the business. And obviously I had my main bank accounts that I had, my money in from my job and stuff like that. And then I set up a separate bank account, like an online bank account. And I just kind of invoiced. And then I just saw the money come in and I thought, right, okay, like I did have some, like I always go back to that, once I did obviously as an apprentice, as an intern, you don't earn as much as like you would be qualified. So you only earn like maybe, $1,500 or something like that a month. When I made that near enough that in like one night, that was like, right, okay, this is really serious. This is something really, really serious. And that was obviously a little bit further on in my agency, but yeah, that was like a turning point for me when I saw that come in and I thought, wow, like
in one day.
Yeah. So in about one day, nearly, how much I made a month. Yeah.
It is insane.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of calls with people who aren't in the program just yet. And like I show them their Discord and I show them the member results and they actually can't believe it. They're like, what? This guy joined a week ago and he's made $10,000.
Yeah.
Like 44 bass. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah. I've seen him. Yeah.
He genuinely joined about 2 weeks ago at the time of this recording of the podcast. In his first week, he's got a client and he's now made 12,000 gross, 10,000 net.
Yeah.
Now, granted, that's 50%, but still, he's made $5,000 in like a week.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
insane.
It's crazy.
And I'm the same as you. Like I was in an apprenticeship, but it was kind of like I was working at an estate agency, and I was just the one doing the viewings, like showing people around the houses, which was like the lowest of like the team. So I was getting paid like $1,200, $1,500 a month, like nothing basically. And in order to to be able to make that per night whilst I'm asleep, and I have chatters doing that, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you saw that. Okay, let's go kind of step by step, right? Because I want people to really see what the journey is like for somebody like yourself who's just starting from no experience, right?
Yeah.
So you got your first client. You're obviously just learning.
Yep.
But you mentioned there you're still doing outreach and you're getting more clients on board. Is that right?
Yeah.
So then what were your kind of next couple clients? Were they making more money and was it a bit easier to work with?
So it was, I mean, we speak about it in the group. Once you get your first client, it's like just more and more come.
Yeah.
That's not even, to say that like the referral side of it, because the referrals are great as well, but it's like a chain reaction. It's like once you sign one, it's like more come. And then I was signing more clients, yes, all at different stages. Some might be making less than my first client, some might be making a little bit more. They were all still in around that couple of hundred mark, or just reaching 1,000 or something like that. And then so with them clients, I was just doing the same thing again. I was learning, because they're all different. They've all got different niches.
Yeah.
They're all different with how they work, their work ethic, what time they have. Do they have this job? Do they have that responsibility? And you've got to cater around that yourself. You've got to know when they're putting in the work, so that you know when you can get content and stuff like that. So they're all different. So learning different techniques and different ways to deal with things off different clients, again, was just straight learning, learning phase. So much learning, so much knowledge taken in, just to take on to my new clients that I was, going to take on down the line, because it's inevitable that you're going to keep growing, growing and growing. Yeah.
And what do you, thinking back like on your first couple of months here, what are some mistakes that you can remember that you made at the beginning that you wish now to perhaps avoid?
Okay. I think you can make mistakes in every aspect, and some mistakes actually aren't that detrimental sometimes. So you might do marketing and you might even, post on some sort of social media and it doesn't do as well. That is a mistake, but it's not a detrimental mistake. It's
a good point. There's a big difference between the two.
There's a huge difference, because making a mistake that detriments your business is, catastrophic sometimes. But you can make mistakes by posting something. Oh, that hasn't worked out. Okay, I'll try this next one. Oh, that didn't work out either. This one that I've tried. Oh, that's got some traction. Then I went and tried that one and it's blown up. So you can make mistakes without it being detrimental. But now other mistakes that was, maybe with the chatting sometimes, again, it's not as detrimental again, but you could sell something on the chatting that is... that you could probably sell more for, but that's just because you're starting out and stuff, and especially and with the chatters as well, you could say, oh, you could price this for this, and it's not detrimental. It's just detrimental towards how much you will make, but it's not actually going to completely flatline your business. But so that is a mistake with the chatting and with the selling and the marketing as well. So they're two mistakes that I can definitely remember. I'll
tell you one that me and Harry made in the early days, and again, we everything we've learned the hard way. There genuinely was no coaches when we first started in this OFM stuff, and the biggest one, and it might seem like common sense, but it isn't in the moment, is setting the wrong expectations. And that goes for not only the numbers, like, oh yeah, we're going to get you this many subs and we're going to generate this much income, but more so it was about communication, right? And the things that we're going to be doing. So for example, for communication, we would literally say on the onboarding call, we'd be like, yeah, you can message us whenever, we'll always respond. We're here 24/7. That's what sets us aside from everybody else. Although, yes, that sounds good, it's not true, is it? Because if you're asleep on a Sunday at 2 a.m. and if you've said that on onboarding call, if there's an issue, she will call you on a Sunday at 2 a.m. And if you don't respond, you're going to lose a client. So that was one of the biggest things. And then the other thing was, like, what exactly are we going to be doing? So we used to say, like, we'll do everything for you. You literally just have to take the photos and videos, which then made them think that we're going to log into all of their social medias, scheduling, be posting stories for them and everything. And again, some agencies do that, but we weren't planning on, but we were saying that we're basically going to do everything. So the biggest mistake that I took, and again, I want to perhaps give that as a lesson to people watching, is don't set the wrong expectations. Now, when you're starting out, especially if you don't have a mentorship program, unlike yourself, you don't know better. So how is somebody who's starting out meant to know how to manage the right expectations, right?
Yeah.
But again, that's why yourself, you've done it the right way. You've joined a mentorship program. You learned from us the right way. And you've avoided so many mistakes that I'm surprised that you didn't say what I'm saying here, because that was one of the biggest issues that we had.
You reminded me now that is a big thing, and that's something that you do learn in time. So you take calls with the clients, and you've in your early stages you might say like, oh, I can
do everything.
Yeah, I can do everything, but then as you go on, you say, oh no, this is what we do, this is what you have to do, and setting the wrong expectations. That is a big one that you've reminded me of. That saying that you can do this and because obviously a lot of clients want to sign on with an agency because of how fast they can grow and how much money they can make so quick. And you've just got to set that realistic expectation, especially with maybe how they're set up and stuff. If they've not got a big social following, or if they've not got a big platform that they're big on, then they're not going to get to what someone who is a huge client is going to get to. And you just have to make sure that the right expectations are set, not just
from the get-go.
Not just for them creating content, also the right expectations for you of what you can do with them. Because if you've got other things going on with different clients and you've got to sort out so much stuff, you need to say to them, look, you're not my first client and stuff like that. I have others and all that sort of stuff. So you've got to set the right expectations. Therefore, you definitely reminded me of that.
And then, so let's fast track perhaps a couple of months, because typically the first 90 days is just making a mistake, learning from it, making a mistake, learning from it, new client, making a mistake, learning from it, new client, right? And it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Now, fast track to about the last 90 days from today. Where's your agency at? How is it looking? And how's it all set up?
Well, the big thing about my agency is I managed to quit my job. And that is a big thing that people, like to want to do even. They want to quit the job. They want to be all in.
I love
on
hearing
something.
that, by the way, bro.
Yeah, I know, it's great. It's great.
So
Yeah, I managed to quit my job, and actually be full focused on OFM, and that being my main source of income.
And whenabouts was this, by the way,
So
bro?
this was about what you said, probably about 90 days ago or such. And I just went
all in.
Went all in, completely went all in, just working as much as I can. Obviously, like you said before, the slack is natural. It does happen, but just grinding it out and just investing in myself and really, really trying to make it work. And, it got to a point where I was making, more than my job.
And talk people through that experience of then waking up, the first morning when you woke up and you don't have a job as such for the rest of your life. Do you still remember that feeling? What was it?
Yes, I do remember that feeling, but it's a great feeling when you wake up in the morning and obviously you don't have an alarm that just lets you know that you have to go somewhere. But it's also not something to look at and think, right, I don't have a job now. No, you need to make whatever you've got going on that job. So that 8 hours that you were spending at that job, double that. Do 10 hours, do 12 hours throughout the day, and really work on your business, because that's how you're going to get to that point where you're making 10K, whatever, goals that you set yourself. So that was my mindset at the time.
The thing that I was the most excited about when I kind of quit my 9 to 5 and went all in was two things. Like, one is that freedom of not having to wake up at 5 a.m., brush my teeth, get dressed and drive to an office that I don't want to go to do something that I don't want to at God knows what time in the morning. But the second thing was, back in the 9 to 5, I only had maybe 4 or 5 hours after work to work on my business before I'd pass out because I'm so tired. Whereas now I had basically 12 to 18 hours. It's like, oh my God, I've got all this time now to put all of my focus into this business. Which was just such a weight off of my shoulders. And that's what I was super excited about. So, okay. So you quit your job, you went all in. You have way more time to focus on your agency now.
Yes, correct.
And at the time where you are now then, bro, how much, if you don't mind me asking, actually, I probably should have asked you this before we started recording. You don't have to say actually, by the way, but roughly how much money have you collected since perhaps starting back in May? And how many clients you're working with now, and kind of what do you offer for them?
Okay, so if I can remember correctly, this month I told you before, I'm at around 5-6K. But that's not just this month. So I've overall.
Bro, sorry to interrupt you. That's still 3 to
that is,
5 times.
Yeah, that is more than the average salary in the UK. Way more, and that
3 times.
Yeah,
really.
It is. It's more than that, and but altogether in my time, so and obviously I've been in this 5 months, which to a lot of people is not a long time to be inside of a business. And that's why I set my goal to be, I think I set like a 12 to even 18 month goal. And it's not a lot of time. So I've accumulated, you know, probably around either near 10K or maybe over. Obviously that is made for clients. So, you know, obviously with the revenue split and everything like that. So that's where I'm currently at with my agency. And yeah, it's just about knuckling down, you know, and just, I came out here for half a holiday because I've got some family here and it's birthday, but then the rest was all just focused on making content, trying to grow my personal brand, doing everything I can to attract, you know, better and bigger clients. Yeah.
I love that. Now it's time to really level up to that next level, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's the goal, to level up. Yeah.
Well, after this, we're going to have a little more in-person one-to-one coaching. I'm going to give you all the behind the scenes of what we've got going on.
Perfect,
by the time you leave Dubai, you're going to know exactly how to get to 20, 30, 50K a month.
Perfect.
And that's really doable, brother. Like, all it really comes down to is, like you said already, is just getting that next client that's making a little bit more, scaling them to twice as much, and then you get another client who's already at this level, and it's like a pedestal, right? You kind of keep like a stepping stone, I meant to say. You kind of keep doing that stepping stone of getting bigger and bigger and bigger clients. Before you know it, you have one client making 100K a month and you're taking 50% of that, right? But from your own experience, what has the actual coaching and the mentorship been like for yourself?
The coaching and the mentorship has been, honestly, I can't speak highly of it enough, and I'm not being paid to say
everyone's probably going to think that.
Get onto this mentorship. But honestly, it's the best thing that happened to grow and to get into OFM, because I mean, I probably say it every single week on the calls when anybody asks me what's the best thing and stuff like that, or the community, and I say the calls on the Tuesday and the Thursday are the best thing about the mentorship, because you can ask any question you want to yourself, who's done it so much, and Harry and Jack, and you can ask whatever you want and it will be answered. And other members in the group will answer that question as well, because they've gone through that. So the calls are the essential. Then also the group community is great, because you know, you look on any part of the section, the questions, the general, anything like that. And again, people asking questions, people putting stuff in.
Share for shares.
Yeah,
That's something that I've seen people really utilizing.
Share for shares on OF or on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, to grow each other if you've got models the same niche and stuff like that. The general chat and the questions chat, and also the membership results, because if you see what they've made this month or this week, you want to get to that point. So it also inspires you, like, oh, I want to get to that point. I want to be like him. Then you'll message him and he'll say, this is how I did this, is that, and then you've networked through the phone. You're not actually networking, like out here, like I've come to network and stuff. You're just networking through the phone. You could be at your home address and somebody else is at their home address and you're networking through the phone. So yeah, I couldn't speak highly enough. It was, well worth my money in Aura.
Legend.
And anybody who wants to sign up or wants to get into OFM, Aura is, the best out there. You can 100% grow and become successful in OFM if you've got the right mentorship through you guys, 100%.
Enzo, what a pleasure. I'm going to leave all your links down below.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. It's been great. It's been a perfect experience for me. And I wish you luck with everything that you've got going on in your life as well. And I'm sure I'll see you again sometime soon.
Thank you. Okay. Peace.